You just need it in your book.
All right, welcome back to the stream, everybody. How are you all doing? So, morning has arisen. Strange dreams were had in the night, but the rest of you are fairly well refreshed. What do you do in the morning?
I prepare my spells, and I'm gonna head over. I'm gonna ask one of the servants to get me a basin of soapy water, and bring it to Gorik's room. And then I'm gonna go meet up with Gorik and ask if he's ready.
Okay.
Well, I'm still in front of Gorik's room, and when you see Rose, she's just laying there against the door frame. And when she snores lightly, it sounds a little bit like the rustling of leaves. You know, very soft sounding.
I nudge you awake and say, Rose, I need to go through the door.
Oh, right. I shuffle to the side.
You're free to watch if you want.
All right.
Watch what?
I'm going to try to restore his sight.
So, Gorik, your door opens, and you see Rose in her very sleepy looking morning self with a blanket, and Tom striding in with a basin of soapy water.
Oh, his vision's back? We don't have to do this?
When you say I see, does that mean my vision's restored on its own?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to prepare Lesser Restoration then, because if I don't have to cast it to see, then I don't think it'll be as important.
That actually concerns me more than if we had to do it the hard way. Gorik, hold still. Let me see your eyes. I'm gonna kind of like take a close look into his eyes. Do I notice it
on his finger and shine it?
I could do that.
You take a look in Gorik's eyes, and it seems that whatever black poison had filled his veins has worn off in the night, as his eyes look like normal eyes to you.
Okay. I am going to cast Detect Magic, because I know that black substance radiated that kind of magic, and I want to see if there's any lingering residue in his body from that.
Sure. You cast Detect Magic and try to find any lingering residue of the magic.
Chandler lights up, by the way. You're right next to him. Lights up with magic.
You take a good look over his body, and his eyes, his face, and the length of his arm. You don't see any. At the point where he was wounded the day before, at the point of the bite, there's just a very faint aura of it there, but it seems to be almost gone. Right, just the very, very faintest touch of magic lingers with the same kind of strange school that you're unfamiliar with on the bite.
Okay. Well, it seems like it's more or less gone. I'm going to remove the last little bit from your arm to make sure that nothing lingers, but otherwise, I guess it simply wore off.
I actually will prepare Lesser Restoration after all, because I told that broken back dude that I would try and help him magically.
Mm-hmm.
We'll worry about that after any combats that occur, but...
So I'm gonna go over to the basin of soapy water and start preparing the spell, and it forms like a bubble out of this water that he like holds up against the palm of his hand, and he kind of just puts it over Gorik's arm, and it fuses into his arm a little bit, and he tries to just rip the poison out of his body and into this bubble using Lesser Restoration.
Nice. And so you do this. The bubble latches on to the bite mark, and you infuse it with your magic. And as you rip it out, you rip out the remainders of a little bit of this black ichor. You see it kind of swirl around in the bubble. And once again, very small amount. You rip the last of the poisons from Gorik's body.
I pop the bubble into the basin and tell the servant to go dump the water.
At once, sir.
Don't mix it with any kind of drinking supply, obviously. Get this.
Before he does that, can I quickly take out my vial of the black ichorous goo and see if it looks similar, like consistency-wise, or if it's...
Yes. You take a look in your vial, kind of move it around, and you look at this thing as it swirls in the soapy water. It's hard to tell exactly for sure consistency, but it seems to be the same substance. And with that, the servant bows at once and rushes out to dump the soapy water.
I had a dream last night.
Oh?
Yes. I was a creature in swamp. Human, I think. Tall, fleshy, hairless. I jumped from tree to tree, witnessed some lizard people, came across a hut with bamboo noisemaker, water fountain. It seemed to repel creature. Then it comes here, through orchard. Looks around servants' houses, finds no victims, comes to manor, and the lights outside your window, and watches you sleep. I look at reflection in window as it stares at you. It is human face, but eyes are gouged out like statues.
Mm-hmm.
I think the statue is depiction of this being, whatever it is.
Well, that's disconcerting.
Yes, perhaps evidence of creature outside your window. We could look.
Yes, let's go see if it left any tracks. We might be able to follow them back to the swamp if it did.
I may be able to backtrack using memories from dream.
Possible. I'll go make sure Sandbar's ready. He's probably the best tracker out of all of us.
Did someone say tracking?
He just sticks his head through.
I'm here.
Let's
All
go.
You.
Greg, did I? Sorry, in the night when I read those Wiccan books, did I find anything of interest that would that is related to that swamp, or that is related to a story with a statue or curse that like that?
Not so much the statue or the curse, but there's plenty of superstitions about the lady in the swamp in there. It seems she's a bit of a superstitious center of a lot of stories in there. Not all of them. Some of them are about spirits and trees, folk, and other things. But the good woman of the swamp, Morgan, is mentioned many times. That if you seek her out and bargain with her, you can get aid, right, for whatever may ail you. But you must pay whatever price that she asks for her aid.
What if you don't pay the price?
It doesn't say. It doesn't have an exact description of what had happened if you don't pay. Just warnings that you should. That the aid of the good woman comes with a price that you should pay it.
Hearing that Tom is being kind of targeted by this creature, I think Janlar worriedly would hand him a magic candle as well.
Nice.
Thank you. What do I do with it?
I might explain it to you as well. So it's a magic candle that you can light with your hit die that will ward off spirits in books, I believe.
Interesting.
And then they won't
Thank
be able
you.
to enter the ward.
Yeah. And about this time, as you are making your way out of Gorik's room and over to Tom's to check the presence of this creature, the servant that you asked to dish out or dump out the soapy water comes running back up and says, Seekers, statue is here, just outside. Figured I'd tell you. I'm gonna go the other way. Fast.
Yes. Keep a good distance.
And he just leaves. And sure enough, as you go back to Tom's room, just outside your window, you see the statue of a beggar whose hand's out and a marble eye inside, just looking out there at you.
Quick question. In
Yes.
my head, I was envisioning us on a second floor.
It's one floor.
It's a one-story building? Okay.
It's wide, not tall. Right, there is
Okay.
a basement underneath, like a cellar area, as large as the house itself. But it's a one floor manor, wide.
Quick tangent. Is that kind of something that's expected in your world? Do most houses are they one floored or something?
Depends on where you are, right? Building multiple floors is a city thing, kind of, right? Because it's safe and lots of construction.
And you need the
But
space.
like maybe elves build multiple floors or something, or in trees. It kind of depends on who made the house. But no, it would make sense for a manor house to be one floor or two, but probably not more than that.
My mental image that I had formed was that we were on like a guest level, and that the statue was like outside Tom's window as in statue form, like on the second story. So I had to reconcile what was actually going on with how ridiculous it looked in my head.
No, it's on the ground floor, and so it's just sitting out there.
All right, I'm gonna head outside to the statue.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to try to put some of those gemstones in and see if I can't get myself a little magic skull.
You want to try giving it gold coin?
That's what I was going to do, and I'm gonna take out a gold coin and just drop it into its hands.
As you do, where is the statue of yourself?
In my bag.
In your bag. Okay. You drop a gold coin into the beggar's open hands, and you don't feel an immediate difference or anything, but you dig through your bag to find your statue, and instead find it gone, as if it is not there anymore. It has disappeared.
Interesting. Gorik, you might want to try the same.
Do I have my statue?
Yeah, I
Yes,
gave you yours yesterday.
Handed it to him. Yeah.
I still have it though. It hasn't disappeared.
Oh yes, you have it. You can hold it in your hand.
Mark off the gold.
I take out a gold coin and I drop it into the statue's hands.
As you do, the statue in your other hand kind of fades away, breaks up into a small dust that just kind of sits in your hand and blows away in the slight morning breeze.
It's courtesy statue. You do nice thing for it, it doesn't harm you.
Maybe it's not such a terrible thing after all. Though personally, now I'm intrigued by the mystery.
The presence of the shadow was definitely evil. Definitely.
Are there the statue's just right outside his window, right?
Yes, it is.
Is there a crossroads here, or is it just here?
No.
Okay.
So this would be the first time you've seen it not next to a crossroad.
Is there a... Does it look like the statue came here from somewhere directly?
You begin searching around, and you do see that trail that it leaves behind it, and the trail leads back away from the manor towards the direction of the laborers' homes. If you begin tracking it even further, it leads past them and away into the kind of orchard until you lose it.
Well, should we
Investigate?
we could follow trail into woods. We could see the hut that it was repelled from. We could ask the owner what that device is, why they have it.
Why do you think it's plaguing this orchard?
I don't know.
Well, if it
They got
likes
more height.
money, then this man seems to have a lot of it, right?
Why would it plague his workers and not him, though? It seems a little bit like protesting the rich by killing the poor, a little bit counterintuitive, don't you think?
I'm not an expert on politics, so I don't know. I'm not sure. When do you count as rich?
I don't know. Do any of us count as rich?
Chandler looks through his 7 coins. Chandler is not rich.
I don't know what point you qualify. But I would imagine that his employees do not count.
Well, did you want to go and talk to the lady of the swamp?
Yes.
Perhaps this lady of Swamp Woman is person with bamboo thing.
It would make sense. I mean, they haven't talked about anyone else who lives out there, have they?
Do we want to leave the statue this close to the manor house?
Do we want to break statue or try and bring it with us?
Why would we break it? I just got rid of that stupid statue that it made of me by giving it a gold coin. Why would I piss it off again?
Right. I think messing with statue is inviting disaster.
Right. I'm gonna go actually let him know. A small token of charity to the statue is all that is required to avoid immediate misfortune, and we'll look for a more permanent solution.
Maybe he just needs to give it a bottle of his wine.
Oh, that is an excellent idea.
I let him know. Either keep a wide berth from the statue, or give it a small token of charity.
Excellent. Token of charity.
We'll look for something more permanent.
Thank you. You've done a good service to us. I will inform my laborers and my servants at once. We shall perform all the charity it requires.
I'm gonna hold up a hand and be like, maybe just leave statue alone while we are gone.
Yes. Try to avoid it. Only if it shows up right in your face, maybe offer it a coin.
Oh.
But
Okay. In that case, I will have my coins on standby.
He holds up one of the diamonds that Janlar gave him last night.
I'll look
Very
at
generous.
I just got some more spending money.
I made a mint on this stupid inkwell I bought last night. Let me tell you.
I am much too good a man to rub the face of anyone that I have bested in a battle of negotiation. But I may brag to somebody else another time.
I'll look at Jenla and I'll say, when do you think the statue goes back?
It must be at night. Maybe.
Because the man we talked to said that he was swinging through the swamp and then made his way to the manor. And I think that sounded very similar to the dream.
That is similar to the dream I had last night, too.
Exactly.
I was thinking the same thing, Rose.
That man said he had two dreams, though, not one continuous.
Well, do we want to follow these tracks and see if they lead us to the swamp? Or
I'll
where they
just
lead
let you know, we should be careful with the lady of the swamp. Generally, people who live in the swamp know how to defend themselves.
That's fair.
I'll keep that in mind. Really, I'd like to avoid offending anyone.
Sounds like the Lady of the Swamp is almost inviting to people coming to question her for knowledge. She just asks for something in return. We just won't want to piss her off and cross her.
It shouldn't be too hard. I'm the face of civility itself.
I just look at Tom and I was like, I'm going to lean into Jen. I said, has he lost his mind? Did we check him? Is he poisoned or anything? He also said he didn't want to step on anybody's toes, right? That's what he said, something like that. Like, Tom? Are we talking about Tom?
He's a shining light. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say. All right. So, it sounds like you're leaving the manor house to investigate the nearby coastal swamp. It takes you some time to get there. You make your trek westward out away from the orchard. The orchard's quite large, and it takes probably 3 to 4 hours just to get to the other side of it. You begin crossing kind of the countryside just west of Colvir towards the bay. Eventually, the small woods and grasslands begin to shift closer to a marsh as more and more standing water is seen. And eventually, you begin seeing kind of tall cattails growing and ferns. And before the noonday sun, you find yourself properly in a coastal swamp. The water stands about half a boot high when in the standing water at this most recent point. There are kind of muddy islands that breach up in and around it. The cattails and ferns grow tall here, about waist high or taller, and it is sprinkled with viney trees that hang about. And it seems to get deeper the farther you would push in towards the bay area. How are you going to navigate the swamp? How are you going to find your way to the home of Morgan, the good woman of the swamp?
Do I remember the route that the thing had taken from her hut to the orchard?
You could attempt to backtrack it using your memory of the dream.
Okay, I think that's what I'm going to suggest doing, unless Sambar can see tracks from this creature. But with all the water and stuff, I imagine there probably aren't many.
Sambar looks around, attempts to track, and comes back and says, so different than the sea of grass. I'm not sure I can pick it up. You said it was swinging from trees at some point.
It mostly travels by jumping from tree to tree.
No, I couldn't find it.
I can attempt to backtrack. I remember it coming from house to orchard, but in dream, I do not think it takes 4 hours.
Well, time does tend to be hazy in dreams.
Okay, so Gorik, you take the lead and are attempting to remember your track through the swamplands and backtrack as you remember it happening in a dream you had last night. So I think what you are going to do to lead the party is make a survival check. I think survival is the correct skill here, but I'm going to say it is intelligence-based to remember the track through your dream, rather than wisdom-based of the, like, moving your way through the land.
That's fine. I've got the same roll either way, so...
All right.
It won't make much difference.
You begin leading the party ever deeper into the swamp. The deeper you go, the more overgrown it becomes, ferns and cattails reaching higher. The trees become more consistent as you get deeper in. You begin to smell the rot of a swamp as vegetation sits in stagnant waters. You trudge your way through the kind of wet, as well as taking the opportunities you can to get up on the kind of muddier mounds and hills, speed along your progress. You begin looking from place to place, trying to remember exactly which way you came, and to some extent believe you're kind of in the right vicinity, and lead the party ever onward into the gloom here. The swamp eventually breaks to a little bit of a clearing where there's a series of kind of muddy islands that you can hop onto from fern to fern to fern. And as you do this, you come across some downed wood that all of you can see. There's a broken stump and a log that's fallen. And circling around it, you see a group of 10 bullywugs. They seem to be resting and unaware of your approach as you stop a few feet away, more like 100 feet away on a muddy hill. You see that 2 of them seem to be wounded, and there's a large dead frog half submerged in the standing water near them. They're sitting here like examining the bugs in this down tree and seem to be eating them. They're armed with spears, each of them, and are just oblivious to you at the moment as you watch them.
Can anyone here speak with bullywugs?
Let's just circle around them.
I'm gonna
Well, if
cast
we can
Mage
talk to
Armor
them.
myself while I have a chance here.
All right, Janlar, you quietly cast mage armor, surrounding yourself in an arcane shield.
And then I
Should
also
you-
use some of it to create my arcane ward as well.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone here can speak to them, it might help to communicate here. Does anyone have any means?
No, sir.
I do not know what languages these creatures speak.
Well, I suppose we might just want to go around them then? I don't really see the point in killing a bunch of bullywugs.
I have no qualms about leaving them alone.
Okay, so you're going to attempt to just sneak your way past them?
Yep.
All right, Gorik, you're pretty sure that you need to get past them to the other side. And so you and your party begin taking a long route around them, attempting to not be too noticeable or seen as you traverse them. I want the party to make a group stealth check.
That's just lowest roll.
It's just going to be an average roll for the group here. And Sambar will attempt to help you along as well.
Is that our stealth, or is that...
That is stealth for Sambar there, that 20.
I see.
The rest of you roll as well. We'll see an average group here. You're taking
I
a
see.
long, careful route to get away from the swamp, but you're trying to be undetected by this group of bullywug warriors.
Sean, you have advantage on... Oh, you have disadvantage.
Yeah, because I wear heavy armor.
Alrighty. So
Yeah, I
Janlar
think
with
I
a
do.
16.
I think I've got disadvantage too.
Sambar is a
Scale-
20.
Scale mail's heavy, right?
I believe so. I think that's even better than what I have.
Oh no, it's not. It's not heavy, but it does do disadvantage. It's medium,
Faye,
but it does.
do you have advantage for wearing your cloak? Does that work here?
I think it might only work in grasslands. I'm not sure if it works. Does the cloak work
it
in
would
a
work
swamp?
in any natural environment.
It doesn't
Oh.
like phase shift.
So should I roll again? Just to...
Yeah, you might as well. I'm just averaging your roll, and all the videos are changing.
Yeah, we got Giratina up.
Yeah,
on screen.
yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. With that,
Hopefully, we're not fighting that.
No. Your average roll is successful as the party manages to sneak its way around the swamp and makes it and gets past these terrifying bullywugs that you did not want to encounter, and continues your trek on to the rest of the swamp. Gorik, you lead your way, occasionally losing your place from time to time, but manage to eventually find the hut that you see in your dreams. There is a small clearing in the swamp that breaks away on kind of one of these muddy hills. You see a small wooden hut that's very, very humble in its make. It has just some small moss growing on it, along with a natural spring outside of it, where a Japanese-style bamboo fountain sits. The bamboo fills with water until the point it tips over, lets out the water into the pool around it, and as it does, it knocks on another bamboo structure underneath it, each time ringing out a loud and clear thunking sound across the clearing. Sambar and Rose. Every time you two hear this thunking of the bamboo on
Fountain?
bamboo,
Yeah.
you hear this noise, and it's like it grates on you. It's like somebody scratched nails across a chalkboard every time as it echoes across, and you feel physically like sick by it each time.
I press
Sambar,
my hands on my ears.
yes, you and Sambar both immediately put your hands over your ears when you hear this. And as soon as it happens, it and the sound ends, it kind of clears. But as the fills up again, the bamboo drops down, and each renewed thunk sends that same feeling out through both you and Sambar.
Rose grabs her ears, right, and kind of covers them up.
Yeah.
All right, I'll kind of look at Tom, and I'll be like, well, it seems likely it is some kind of fey creature then.
Mm-hmm. That would explain some things. You're free to wait a little bit further away. We can do this business on our own if the sound is too grating for you.
I don't think she wants me in there.
Sure, we'll take care of it with just the three of us then. We'll come find you afterwards.
All right.
Call if you need help.
So Rose and Sambar huddle together a few hundred feet away from the clearing, where the sound no longer reaches them, and they feel like kind of a relief of being away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending you a quick DM, Greg. It might be relevant.
Okay.
I guess I'm just going to turn myself invisible while I'm waiting.
Okay, nice. The three of you, Janlar, Gorik, and Tom, can walk up through this clearing. As you do so and approach the home, the front door opens, and middle-aged, human-looking woman with pale skin and long kind of blonde hair opens the door and looks at you all as you approach. Says, visitors, welcome. Not many are seeking out Morgan these days. Come
Perhaps
and
more
sit,
should
tell
be.
me what ails you. And she turns around after gesturing to come into her home, and walks in, expecting you to follow. As you enter the building, you see that she has shelves and shelves of strange trinkets that she's in process of working on. There, bones and feathers and scales and eyes, and there's a glass cage where there are a series of spiders just continuously churning silk in the corner. There's a large pot in the center of the room that is over a small fire that is boiling and bubbling and smells actually quite delicious. She stirs briefly as you come in. There's small cot over in one corner of the room that is slightly obscured by one of those shades, but is not all the way drawn across. And as you enter in, she kind of makes a small gesture with her hands and says some words under her breath, and a table and chairs kind of slide their way out away from the wall and sets itself next to the cooking pot. With silverware kind of jumping over and tableware as well. She says, please, it is almost noon. It is time for the stew to be done. We can eat while you tell me what ails you and why you've come to me. And with another kind of gesture, the spoon that was stirring the pot kind of lifts itself up and serves a bowl of stew at each setting. She sits down and kind of smiles at the three of you.
Just before Gorik enters, he stops and pulls out a small vial of silver powder taps some into his hand and then kind of holds it for a minute, and then when he releases his hand, it's gone, and he casts protection from good and evil on himself.
Okay.
So if she does anything and she's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead, that might be relevant. But for the next 10 minutes, I've got protection from good and evil cast on myself.
Okay, excellent. You do that. She doesn't seem to notice, makes no mention of it as you seat yourself around the table. She smiles, takes a sip of her stew, kind of crinkles her nose at it, and kind of taps her bowl with her finger, incants some more, tries it again, says, much better. And then just kind of smiles and says, what can I do for you? Please, sit, tell me.
I pull out a couple of my spices and add them to the stew. And I say, what can you tell us?
Not trying to get on anybody's toes. Just casually.
Immediately starts adding seasonings to the food
most
that she's
charismatic
offering.
party face.
I say, what can you tell us about the statues that have been appearing on the orchard nearby?
Oh.
You know anything about them?
Statues? No, tell me more.
Gore, can you describe the dream?
There is a creature here in the swamp. I do not know how long it has been here, but I believe it may be a fey being of some kind. It is humanoid, but it leaps from tree to tree. It tried to approach your hut last night, but and he kind of gestures out the door, your fountain sound repelled it.
Ah, yes.
It
Neat trick of magic, that.
It has been plaguing a nearby orchard. We think it may
creature from the swamp.
We think it may be touched by rift magic. Well, they think it may be touched by rift magic.
Rift magic. Well, those are two different things entirely. I've sold a fair number of trinkets to some of the laborers there. If it was a fey, I am sure that it would be repelled, or they would be safe from it. Tell me, how is Michaela? Has she reported any trouble with it?
Is she the one who bought so many trinkets from you?
One of the few who still seek me out, yes.
I believe she was the very first person to go missing, actually.
Then I believe you could rule out the Fae.
Well,
Your fountain.
Rift touched, you say?
the creature was definitely rift touched, and it was also repelled by your bamboo stick out there, according to Goric.
Does your bamboozler repel anything besides the Fae?
Oh, a great many things, yes, yes. One day I'd like to patent that, but I think the dwarves beat me to it once upon a time. Anyway, an old story. So, rift magic. I don't know of any active. There is an old altar. Yes, an old altar to a forgotten realm. It hasn't been active in quite some time. I don't know any who would seek it out. Forgotten, I think. Forgotten very well by the men in this area of the world. I know that it is connected to some place beyond our own, much like the rifts.
You mentioned that we felt the rift marks when we were on the orchard. Do we still feel them out here in the swamp?
No.
Okay.
She thinks for another moment and says, "No, it is the only thing I could think of. In order to call forth the magic from the rift, it would require a ritual or a sacrifice of some kind. Anyone powerful enough to do that, I'm sure I would have felt. This is my swamp, after all."
Could you point us out to this altar anyways? The rift magic seems to be centered on the orchard. I don't feel it out here. But it's possible that it started at that altar.
It is possible, yes.
Does any part that we've wandered through the swamp now for at least an hour or two, right? You said at the beginning of the dream that it smelled like corpses, right? It smelled
Yes.
like fetid bodies. Does the rest of the swamp smell like that, or only
It does
that
a little
swamp?
bit.
Okay.
The fetid
not just-
stench of the bodies you don't really get here. What you smell is
Okay.
the rot of vegetation.
Vegetable rot, okay.
That sits in this water, right? You imagine if something died in the swamp, you would get that smell, but you
Right.
aren't getting that same stench of like flesh rotting as
But
much.
at the origin of the dream, something smells like rotting flesh. Okay. I'll describe as best Gorik can where in the swamp the dream started relative to her hut,
She listens patiently, kind of
And-
thinks.
and say that it smells like something has died at that point, and that's where the dream starts.
Very interesting dream you have, yes. So, you say it is impacting the orchard, though, yet everything you've described is in my swamp.
Yes.
How is it impacting this orchard? I would love to
There's
know.
a general aura of rift magic that's covering the orchard, and it's not here in the swamp, but all the creatures about it seem to reside here.
The creature itself seems to turn into a statue, and when the laborers interact with it, it curses them with poor luck. Some have lost eyesight, one lost the hand, one has broken his back. Terrible plagues of misfortune occur when they attempt to do anything about the statue.
A curse of misfortune stemming from my swamp related to the rifts. I could do this for you. Yes. I believe I should lead you to the altar. There is a land beyond ours that the swamp is very close to. An ancient land from a lord long forgotten to most. There's an altar here to him. It has not been used in ages. Not
What
in
is
my
this?
lifetime.
What is this lord called?
You would not know of him. He is the Lord of Silver. He owned a land gifted to him by the gods many years ago. Anyway,
Never referred to as the Chained Lord, correct?
no, I don't believe so.
Does she seem sincere? Can I make an insight check to see
You
if-
can, yes.
Okay. Am I trained in insight? I am trained in insight.
Would imagine you are.
That's only a 10. I
She
cannot
seems,
roll on this stupid program to save me.
she seems fairly
If I lose
sincere.
another character, I'm using real dice and I'm telling you what I roll.
She seems very sincere to you. She doesn't seem as if she has ulterior motives or is lying. There's no indication in her voice of anything other than sincerity.
Have I finished the book that I was reading yet? I know I couldn't read it last night because I was blind.
You tell me, man. How much reading did you do in your 3-day trip?
Probably quite a bit. I imagine Gorik. We took a wagon, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, but weren't
Yeah.
you like leading us? Weren't you kind of the guide?
No, not out in the swamp. From
Oh,
Sarmanath
oh, yeah.
to the outskirts of Colvir.
Oh, then a lot of reading.
Yeah, I'm sure Gorik probably finished the book. He's old. He reads a lot.
He reads a lot. Okay, then yes. In 3 days, you could have read through that, especially with it being dwarven lore that you're somewhat familiar with.
All right.
All right, so she kind of thinks privately and says, "Oh no, the Silver Lord. He was an old lord. No, one of the very first, before the Awakening. Even I'm surprised the altar exists. Anyway, my great grandmother told me about it. Yes, before she moved on. Anyway." It is connected to this realm that he owned, much like a rift. I imagine that this could be the only place where such magic could come from. I'll lead you there, and I'll even give you a warning. If you'll do something for me. You see, I've had some problems with some ghasts here in the swamp, they have been eating the creatures that I grow for my experiments. Anyway, I can point you to their location. If you will clear out these ghasts, I will lead you to the shrine. I will give you protection from its magics and allow you to deal with whatever curse is going on. Do we have a bargain?
Yes. The
Excellent.
undead will be destroyed.
Good. I knew I could rely on you. So, she pulls out a little box from underneath the table and opens it up, fishes about. She pulls out what looks to be a compass that is pointing to true north. She dips her finger in the water that is holding the cork and the needle and begins to swirl it around. And begins speaking in the tongue of magic. And suddenly she takes the finger out of the water. The compass turns and points, no longer pointing north, but instead a different direction out into the swamp. And she slides it across the table to you. She says, "If you follow this compass, it will lead you directly to the ghasts. Once they are slain, follow the compass again, and it will lead you to the altar. Be warned, do not take anything from the altar. Do not take anything from the statues around the altar, and you will be better off for it. Also, wear these." And she gets up and takes off from the desk behind the table where you're sitting, some earmuffs, and she kind of slides them across the table as well, with 5 pairs. She says, "If you wear these, then the magics of the altar, the voices that you'll hear, they won't affect you. You can also put them on your friends huddled outside. It will protect you from my fountain as well."
Thank you.
Do you learn the magic for your bamboozler from this shrine?
No. That one was an invention that I had myself. It's a bit easier to just make everything go away and not bother you rather than having to go out and kill them yourself. I'm not like my grandmother. I didn't have the time or the inclination to go around killing all the trespassers you don't want. Anyway, if the shrine is active, and you find yourself in Colvir, do me a favor. Find, what does she call herself these days? Oh, I can't keep track. Find the shop underneath the stone, and tell my sister that Morgan wishes to see her. If the shrine is active, I'm a bit concerned. Might need my sister's help to keep my swamp under control. It means something more powerful than I walked through here and activated it. Anyway, anything else I can do for you?
No, I think that's it.
Excellent. Well, you come back. The good woman of the swamp's always here for you, as long as you do
Do you
something
sell
for me.
healing potions?
I do. You might not like my prices, though.
That is probable. It's good to know you have them, though.
Yes. Do you need a case?
I look around. There are a few things keeping me alive at this point.
She sniffs and breathes deeply and says, "Really? You'll have to excuse me. My nose is a bit sensitive to the grave. Are you sure there are things keeping you alive?"
I look at her and I say, "It seems that way."
Well, who am I to judge? She walks over and grabs a case from the shelf behind her, a little bit higher up, slides it over. There are 4 vials filled with a bubbling kind of red liquid. She says, "I could part with these, though I would require something of you."
We are
Very-
already killing guests for you. Are there more things that need taken care of?
Oh, the gas for the location of the altar and those nullifying muffs there. For these, I'm very intrigued by you, good dwarf. Or are you? I would love an equal vial of your blood for each potion you take.
He looks down and he says, "This is not a trade that I can make."
Fair enough. She puts the she picks back up the case and sets it back up on the shelf.
Price is better than I expected, though. For what it's worth. Come, there are undead that need to be censored.
Yeah, so let's get underway.
Bye now.
head
And
out.
she escorts you out.
You're surprisingly quiet back there, Janlar. Were you awestruck?
No, just not much to say to her.
I like the idea that Janlar, there's a big old, swamp witch type, super magic-y, woodswoman. Were you awestruck? No. I wasn't impressed with her magic.
No, I mean,
I've got magic.
her magics outside were really impressive. No, I guess I was like,
I'm a legit wizard, bro.
she just didn't address me in any way. So
I guess that's true.
He might also just be super worried because he's probably able to realize how strong this woman is, right?
How much about the party's early adventures have they told me?
We've probably told you most of what happened. I don't know if we told you every detail, but you've probably gotten the gist of just about everything.
Okay. So I know about the beast and the eyes and the shrine.
Yeah.
And the weird wizard dude.
Yeah.
Okay. When we get to Faye and to Rose and to Sambar, I will Gormak. Nope, not Gormak. Gormak's dead. Gormak's not talking to anybody. Cloud Gormak's probably not active right now. It's daytime.
It makes me sad every single time.
Yeah. Gorik will turn and look at you guys, and he'll say, "I think this incident might be related to your other Willard's Mill adventures."
Possibly. It appears to be by a different source. The last one was the result of something called a Chained Lord.
The book that Algernon left for Her Majesty Queen First Light of the Sun upon the dew-soaked morning petals. It deals with a dwarven legend. The father of the dwarves, Dworkin, he was contracted by the other gods to forge a chain, an unbreakable chain, to bind an entity known as the Silver Lord. He did this, and for his work, he was rewarded with the dwarven race as his children. This shrine to the Chained Lord that you speak of, I cannot promise that the being is the same. However, the lack of eyes in the statue and the fact that the Silver Lord was chained by the father Dworkin,
I see what you mean.
it is possible the mage that you encountered may have wandered this way and activated a path to the realm of the Silver Lord.
This bodes ill. We need to be more careful what we do with these eyes this time. Last time when we finished the job, the wizard claimed that the Chain Lord thanked us for our work. I think we played into its hands last time, so this time we might want to be a little bit more careful as to how we resolve this particular curse.
Noted.
Are you guys telling us what she said about that Lord of Silver, like the witch? What she said?
Yeah, we'll repeat what she said, and Gorik will add. The Silver Lord was one of the first children of the gods, a demigod or an angel, perhaps, something greater than a man.
Mm-hmm.
He created his own realm a beautiful one, where the trees shone like silver and the leaves were as splendid as jade. He was bound by the gods for his arrogance, as he sought equal footing with them, thinking himself their equal for his creations. After
So
they,
the gods gave him land, and then he got arrogant about it, and so they chained him?
the gods created him, he claimed a domain as many of the first children did, and then believed because of the beauty of his domain that he was unequal with the beings who created him, not subservient. For this they bound him in the prison plain of Carcerai, but he escaped. And after he escaped is when they asked Father Dworkin to bind him forever with an unbreakable chain.
If it's an unbreakable chain, are they attempting to free this chained lord then, that wizard?
I could not tell you. I did not meet him. I'm not sure what his purpose was. But if the chain is unbreakable, I would think the only way to escape it would be to unlock it, or to slip away.
Even if they're not trying to break the chain, but just doing the chain lord's bidding, doesn't sound much better to me.
No, I suppose not.
Dan, are the police coming for you again?
Yo, what is going on? Twalton. Come on, guys.
That's what you get for living on the rough streets of
Tualatin.
Tualatin.
You gotta stop like tricking people into selling you weird items, dude. It's really not working out for you.
I feel like I gave him a solid deal.
Yeah, I feel like
Well, I don't think he thinks you gave him a solid price, so you know.
No, he loved it. Are you kidding me?
I think he knows that he came out ahead in that deal.
Mm.
He made like 25 times what he paid for that thing.
Yeah, but the value of it is more than what he paid.
So, the five of you leave the swamp home of Morgan, and you begin following this compass through the swamp. And it leads you ever westward, deeper and deeper in, until eventually you come across a new page in our swamp here. The compass begins leading you to this kind of larger center island of mud that's raised out of the water, and is pointing you towards this little bit of pond water here. As you guys approach it, feel free to put your tokens on the map where you approach this from. But the pond water, as you begin looking at it, shows like little lumps or bodies, pale things, just kind of floating in this stagnant pond. And the needle points ever onwards towards it.
Which pond is it? There seems to be multiple.
This one here that I pinged.
That one, okay. And which way did you say we were coming from?
You are coming from the east, northeast to the west, but you have been pointed towards this island.
Alright, so from the east. So we're probably down here then, like in this area. Right here-ish.
Excellent.
I don't even see my token. Do I have a token?
Yeah.
You gotta drag it in.
Oh, where do I drag it in from?
So go to the character list and just click
There
and
you
drag
go.
on Goric.
You're there.
Okay.
Alright.
So,
I'm gonna cast Bark Skin on myself.
All right, you prepare yourself with bark skin as you approach this island. The compass needle pointing you towards this pool of water in the mud, where there's these kind of 4 fleshy-looking things just floating in it.
If we move, so which pool is it? Is it this one right in the middle?
Yes, that's the one
Okay.
being pinged.
If we rotate down like to here, does the compass does it change to be pointing directly at that regardless of where we are?
Yes, as you make that movement, the needle begins pointing, continues to point towards that middle area of the island as you move with it.
Cool.
So it seems extremely likely that specific pool is where it's pointing us.
Yes.
All right.
I'm gonna step up to here. I put the earmuffs on as well.
Okay. Excellent.
Goric will say, "The undead are an abomination, and we will destroy them all."
As Tom's putting the earmuffs on, you get like a thumbs up from him.
Put his earmuffs on for a note.
Gormac says, "I can tell you where they are." And his eyes roll black, like completely jet black, and his face kind of pales out, and it almost looks like skull-like. And I use my Eyes of the Grave cleric ability. As an action, I detect any undead creature within 60 feet of me that is not behind total cover.
All right, and you detect floating in the pond here 4 undead creatures. They are floating face down in the water, but below them, even more so, you detect a larger group. It seems like you have stumbled across
Below
a
them.
nest of ghast. And these are merely the ones at the surface now, resting in the midday sun.
So I kind of look back to Goric for confirmation that this is the pool we need.
I will nod. I'll turn to look at you with my jet black eyes, and I'll hold up 4 fingers. I'll nod, and then I'll point below, and I'll just keep adding fingers.
So the nice part is this, I assume, goes out in 3 dimensions. So I'm going to run right up to the edge of this pool here where these bodies are floating, and I'm just going to cast Radiance of the Dawn.
Ooh, okay. Tom rushes to the pool of gas and it begins our combat by igniting Radiance of the Dawn.
So every single thing within 30 feet of me, any enemy within 30 feet needs to make a saving throw. I will double check what kind of saving throw it is really fast. But if they fail the saving throw, they take 2d10 radiant damage, which as undead creatures, they are vulnerable to.
They are vulnerable to radiant damage. This is true.
So let me
Our
check.
ghasts, not all undead are automatically vulnerable to radiant, but
Oh, are they not?
They shouldn't be resistant to it, if nothing else, anyway.
Oh, you're
Alright.
actually right. These aren't. I just assumed they were. No,
Yeah,
they are
I
not
assumed so,
vulnerable
too.
to it.
There actually aren't a ton of undead that are vulnerable to radiant.
No, you're absolutely right. I
But
just
I don't know
assumed
that
that was the
they're-
case.
Yeah, I don't know that there are hardly any undead that resist radiant, which means it's a safe damage type to attack them with, because you at least don't have to worry about oh yeah, they resist it.
Constitution saving throw, 2d10 on a failed save, half on a successful save. I will go ahead and roll the 2d10 real fast.
All right. How many? What is your save DC?
That is a great question, and that's not great damage. My save DC is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your modifier, right? So it's
Correct.
12 for me.
All right. So we have 1 fail, 1 pass, 2. Okay, so we have 2 fails, 3 fails, 4 fails.
Okay, so 10 to the failures, 5 to the... God, I was really hoping they were vulnerable to radiant.
Yeah. Well, and you were probably hoping, kind of like the wargs, that you would just nuke most of them and they would just die.
Yeah. I mean, 40-10 with, decent rolls, that would have been devastating.
Alrighty. So the ones that failed take 10.
And as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Shield of Faith.
All right, you bonus action Shield of Faith. They take 10. These take 5 points of damage. The gas immediately on the surface rise up as they are just surrounded by this radiant light that shines down through the pool. Tom, as you look down through this pool, it is lit up by your radiant magic, and you see clearly in there that there are tons of bodies just churning through here. Many of them dead and fetid and rotting, of humanoid look, of lizard man, of Kuatoa, of creatures and animals as well. But amongst them are these 10 fleshy forms. As the light hits them, they recoil in pain. And the immediate 4 on the surface, like, rise up and get out of the water in an attempt to begin combat.
Alright, so initiative.
And everyone will be rolling initiative, yes. Tom with a 17.
There we go. That's a proper dwarfy initiative. Single digits.
Very nice, Goric. Very nice indeed. These will all go on 9. Janlar with a 15. I see that. Okay. Rose with a nice 8. We're missing one. That's Sambar. That's me. Sambar, first to respond. Okay, so as the light of your radiant light rips across these creatures, the pool once again fades to darkness as your spell ends. These 4 lift themselves out of the water, enraged and in pain. Sambar steps over here to get a clean line of sight, unpacks his great bow, and fires upon the creature closest to you that took the damage of the light. With a 12 to hit, which doesn't seem to affect the creature at all. He has a glancing blow into part of its like rotted, fleshy body, and it just kind of shrugs it off. With that, Sambar expends his action surge and fires another arrow at it. For a 23 this time, striking it for 7 points of damage. As he strikes this creature, you get a strong waft of rotting flesh just drifting from its corpse. And you just smell this like rotted flesh. Please, Tom, since you are right there in it with 5 feet, make a Constitution saving throw, DC 10.
While he's doing that, Greg, can you put the map on stream?
It is on stream.
Oh, is it on stream now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I do not pass on that saving throw.
You do not pass. Okay, you are overwhelmed by the stench and are considered poisoned until the start of the creature's next turn.
Okay.
Which will be pretty quickly, but you are poisoned for the moment. That ends Sambar's turn as he draws some more arrows out of his quiver. Tom, you have been overwhelmed by this awful stench from the creature in front of you that has been struck. What do you do now that your cast of light has failed?
We are going to follow up with some more damage, and I'm going to throw out the burning hands. So I just throw my hands in front of me like I'm doing a flashbang, but instead I do a fire bang.
Absolutely. You put your cone hands in front of you. The 4 on the surface definitely are going to be...
The ones will probably automatically take half or something if they're below the water, so like the other ones. But the ones who are above water should probably just make a normal thing. Which is a dexterity save for half. So 8 on a... God, I am not rolling well. 8 on a fail, 4 on a pass.
We have all fails at the top. So they
are they
all
weak to fire, actually?
take
they are...
8 damage. They are not weak to fire. For the ones underneath the water, you see the water churn and boil where your fire touches it, but are protected from your blast of flames by the pool of water that they are in. Anything else you want to do with your turn, good sir?
Yeah, as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon.
Oh, yes.
And bring the spear down on this one right in front of me.
Okay, your weapon comes down and attacks the creature in front of you. Please roll to
For a
hit.
critical hit.
Oh, nice!
And it takes 17 points of damage.
It takes 17 points of damage. Wow. So 10 and 17 is 27. This thing is dead. You see this ghoul just ripped apart. And lies dead at your feet. Your weapon just ripping new holes in it. Clouds of the stench come pouring out around you, but it now lies motionless and very clearly dead in the pool of water next to you.
And then, do I take any damage from that poison?
No, you don't take damage from poison. You're
Okay.
just poison. You have the poisoned condition until its turn.
Oh, I see.
You have like disadvantage on.
Oh, physical attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
which you did not do, so you're good.
cool.
So that is your turn, it seems. Excellent. Which leads us down the list to Janlar. You see the spiritual weapon rip apart one of the ghasts in front of you, and Tom recoil from the stench of the creature. What do you do?
Give me 1 second. Trying to decide. I want to cast.
Janlar consults his monster's manual.
No. I'm gonna cast. I'm gonna take another leather loop out of my component pouch. And
Okay.
Cast levitate on I don't know one of these creatures. The closest one to Tom.
The closest one to Tom that's not dead. Okay. Sounds good. It will make a Constitution saving throw. And it fails. So this one here just begins floating away 20 feet into the air. Whoa! And you lift it up out of harm's way. Excellent. Anything else you're doing with your turn, Janlar?
It takes an action to light one of those magic candles, right?
It would, yes.
Okay. Then yeah, I don't really have a lot of things I can do with my bonus action, so
Okay, alright.
save it for shield.
You stand firm and lift this creature up into the sky above you. Now the gas go. Where this one died, you see, Tom, it's like get ripped under the water, and it disappears in a puddle beneath you, and is replaced by one swimming up underneath to jump out of the puddle. Here, where the one was lifted up into the air 20 feet, it is replaced as well by one of these creatures. And they begin, the two that are in range with you, Tom, begin attacking you with their bites and claws, attempting to bring you down. The first one attacks with its claws for a 9 to hit you. And is unable to rip through into your flesh. The one, the next one, lunges forward with its mouth, trying to bite at you.
And it gets flashbanged in the process.
Okay, yes, and it gets flashbanged. So its first attack is a 13. Its second, would have been a 23. But the 13, I believe, also misses. Your shield interposed, its biting jaws unable to reach any fleshy, vulnerable bits inside of you. The creature here begins dashing towards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, towards Sambar and Gorik, but it cannot reach them and attack. It can only get into distance with its full rush of motion. The one that has been lifted by levitate continues to flail around, but is unable to break the bonds levitating it. And that is the gas turn for that round. That brings us to Rose. You've seen these gas burst out and race towards your companions. What do you do?
Well, I always figure that this is like slightly lower than the island is, so I guess the first one I would see is probably this one. But I take a shot with a magic stone at it.
Okay, absolutely. You breathe some magic into your stone, place it into your viney whips, and sling it out before it can reach Sambar.
Or I'm trying at least.
For a 22. Nice.
4 magic damage.
Nice. All right, you deal 4 points of damage to this thing. This is one of the ones that had taken...
How do I roll a 0, though? Asking for a friend. That seems weird, doesn't it?
How do you roll a 0? 0 plus 4. Yeah, you shouldn't roll a 0. Looks like you have something wonky in your... It looks like you have something wonky in your character sheet.
Yeah, I'll have a look at it later. I'll roll it. So it is a 5.
It's a 5! It's a 5. Alrighty. You do 5 points of damage to this ghast. Your magic stone strikes it. It goes... as it attempts to continue its onslaught towards Sambar. Anything else you do with your turn?
No, not pro. I mean, how hurt does Tom look? I guess I can't see him from where I am right now.
I'm
Anyways.
uninjured.
Yeah.
Okay. No, we're good. We're good.
A little bit. Actually, no, I'm not sickly anymore because their turn started.
Yeah, their turn started, so your poison condition has ended.
Nope, then I'm good.
Excellent. Goric, you see this creature burst out of the pond, come racing up towards you. What do?
I'm gonna take a step forward to move between these two.
Okay.
I was gonna ask, has it been? I'm guessing it's been more than 10 minutes since we left the witch's hut, right? Okay.
Yes.
So protection from good and evil isn't still out.
Correct.
I didn't think it would be, but I figured it was worth checking because that would be relevant. And then I'm just going to use Word of Radiance. So each of the 2 ghasts next to me needs to make a con save.
Okay. Con save they shall make. That's a 7 and a 6. They both fail.
They both fail. They both take 4 points of radiant damage.
All right. So you glow an aura of radiant bright light, or is it a different kind of radiance when you're a grave cleric?
That's a good question. Word of Radiance is probably still... It's probably like the light at the end of the tunnel type thing. So it's probably this kind of pale, like, beckoning light that shines out from him.
Yeah.
Rather than like a bright, hopeful, radiant light. It's like a sort of
All right.
death light.
Yes, a pale light of like maybe the end of your life radiates out from Goric, subsuming these creatures in its power and dealing damage to them.
Yeah, and then he's going to cast Shield of Faith with a bonus action.
And then your bones come out to like guard you from death. They emit more screams of pain and anger. And your turn, I believe, comes to an end with that. So Sambar is the next to react. Sambar has this creature right in front of him, and chooses to throw down his bow into the water, and he draws out his spear and takes it in 2 hands and begins to just thrust into this creature, trying to slay it. 4 and 9. Sadly, his thrust fails, and is incapable of striking this creature this turn. Does he have anything else he can do? He used up his action surge already.
No, champions don't really have a whole lot to do.
Nope. He maintains a defensive posture with his spear, looking for an opportunity to stab at it, and help his new grave cleric friend. Excellent. Tom, you are standing above this creature that is roiled out of the water after you. What do you do?
For now, I think we are going to we're just gonna give it a good whack. We're just gonna take a swing at this guy.
Okay, you bring
so this
down
one
your
directly in front of me
mace.
is going to have a miss with my mace, but then it also gets a follow-up attack from the spiritual weapon.
Absolutely.
No. The spiritual attack will also miss. So this ghoul is fine.
Okay, your spear of Bridges comes flashing in at it, but it goes wide of the mark as your mace is deflected by its heavy claws, and it gets up in front of your face. That leads us to Janlar. You standing in the back. You've levitated this creature. You see them roiling out of the water to fight you. What do you do?
You're muted.
I was gonna say I can't hear you, Dan. I think
Sorry.
you're muted.
The magic candles, they take an action to cast. Can I move, or not an action cast, an action to use? Can I move and then use my action? Right?
You get a movement and an action in each round, right?
So 60 feet should be 5, 10, 15.
You can move 30 feet.
30?
You can use an action to dash an additional 30 feet.
Yeah. Do I see Janlar messing with the candle? Is he like pulling it out as he's walking and like trying to get it?
I mean, you would have to. He's pulling it out of his bag. He's got this violet candle in his hands.
I've heard him describe these things before, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Goric will tell you these are corporeal undead. I do not think that your spirit ward will abjure them.
Goric is very calm under pressure. He's got like two gas on either side, like slashing at him. He sees Janlar walking across the candle, like, Janlar, it is corporeal creature, will not work. Ugh.
Well, I mean, killing the undead is like the primary directive of a
Yeah, that is.
No, I like it. I like it. Just
cleric of death.
very good.
Alright, in that case, then I'll just kind of... This is as far as I can move forward anyway. I'll turn around and cast Firebolt at the one attacking.
The one attacking Sambar and Goric. Excellent. You spin around, drop the candle, decide the cleric must be right. Poof! Unleash a massive fireball at this thing, or firebolt. Please roll to hit.
Scared me for a second.
A 22 strikes true right in the back of this creature for 2 points of fire damage. And this one is the one that took this damage. It is hurting and has fire. But it shrugs it off as it is now the gas turn to fight. So the ones that are currently on the surface, this one was going after Sambar, and it will rise up to strike at him with its claws, attempting to rip into him. For a 9 to hit, which is not enough, Sambar elegantly bats away his claws with his spear, ready to continue the attack. The one on the other side of Goric decides that it too wants to rip into this can of goodies, and brings its claws to bear at you, with a 24 to hit.
It's attacking Goric, right? It didn't move up for Sambar.
That is correct. This one down here is still attacking
24
you.
will hit Goric, not surprisingly.
Okay, yes. So you, your shield of faith comes up, but its claws rip through your bony carapace and dig deep into your flesh. You will take 2d6 plus 3 slashing damage, but also make me a DC 10. It's Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
As you take 8 points of slashing damage from the claws as they rip into you. You fail the Constitution check, and so you feel the poison and the rot on the end of this creature's talons rip into you. And you are now paralyzed for 1 minute. But you get to repeat the saving throw at the end of each round.
Okay.
At the end of your round.
If you were a dwarf, you'd get advantage on this, right?
That is true. I do not have advantage on that save.
So, that is their 2 turns. The one in front of Tom and the one in front of Tom are both going to try to bring their teeth to bear upon him, gnashing, trying to
I'm gonna
rip
flashbang
into him.
one of them. You
Okay.
pick. I don't care.
The first one will have disadvantage and miss you with a 5 and negate a 21. The second one will attempt to bite at you for an 8. You're sitting there bulwarking with your shield, just knocking them off with your gauntlets. Their teeth are ineffective against you. The other one, held in the air, is still suspended, cannot get away from the levitation, but there's still room in the pond for more to erupt out of. And 2 more manage to rip their way up out of the pond. So now we have 4, 5, 6, 7 with a dead one. So there's still 2 more underneath, unable to get out. And these things submerge with their turn and enter into the round of combat. Which brings us to Rose. Rose, you're hiding behind this cliff. You've struck one with your magic stone. You see Goric get raked into through his magic shield with their claws. What do you do?
Well, I guess Rose is going to scramble up on this little muddy island here, and then she's going to drop her bark skin and is going to cast Moonbeam on the pond.
You're gonna cast Moonbeam on the pond. Whoa.
Exactly. So the violet light is going to shine down through the trees onto the pond. The 5-foot radius, so it should cover it should cover the pond then.
Like that.
Pretty much exactly. Yeah.
Alrighty. So
And it takes effect as soon as they start their turn.
All right, the magical light of the moon shines down through the swamp onto this pond, engulfing these creatures in its bright magical lights. Excellent. Anything else you're doing with your turn, Rose?
No, that's everything for
That
now.
is everything. Excellent. Goric, you are paralyzed this turn, the poison coursing through your body from their claws. Please make a saving throw at the end of your turn. DC 10 Constitution.
Do I need to make a save against its stench too?
It has not been struck in your presence, I don't believe.
Okay. It's con save against paralyze.
Yes, please.
I hit one with a firebolt right next to him.
You do not physically strike it. The only damage they've taken is magical. You
That is a
are
natural
still paralyzed.
Still paralyzed.
Yep. Which brings us to the top of the round with Sambar. Sambar, seeing that you are paralyzed, is going to, get down in a stance and put its spear on his back and dive forward to shove you out of the way, knocking you
Face down in the water. and I
face
start
down in the
drowning.
water. But he
It's
stands.
You can hold your. I guess you can't really hold your breath because you're paralyzed.
Yeah,
Can you
right.
count for at
He
least, 30
stands
seconds?
on top of you, right, and it tries to protect you from these creatures, getting in the way of them.
That would be super funny if trying to protect me, Millman not here, ended up
Steps on his back and pushes him further
Yeah.
into the mud.
He steps on your back, all 300 pounds of
Yeah.
centaur muscle, and just breaks your back instantly.
And with that, we go to Tom standing in front of these creatures in the
Alright.
pond.
Now that some more have surfaced, we're going to go ahead and use another Burning Hands here.
Alright.
So they all need to make dex saves or take 10 points of damage. 5 on a
Okay.
save. Why am I rolling so mediocrely?
That's okay. I don't think I've rolled a con save today that's been more than a 5 on the die.
So we have
2 passes.
2 passes and 2 failures. Go ahead and
I think it's 3 passes.
Oh, right. They have a +3, yeah. 3
Yeah.
passes, 1 failure.
aren't you a 15 on your save?
No, I'm a 12.
Oh, yeah. It's 3 passes.
Yep.
Yep.
Badly.
So roll some damage for me. Oh, you
I
did
did.
10.
10,
Okay.
so 10 for the one, 5 for the other 3.
So the one right in front of you, to the right, that has been... Oh, it hasn't been battling you the whole time. That one's suspended in the air. Never mind. They just take damage.
The one in the far back has been suspended in the air. That
Yes,
one.
but he's not hit by your hands. He's above you.
Yeah, he's too far up.
Yep. Okay. Damage is taken. They burn, and their flesh cackles, and smoke rises. The fetid smell covers you yet again. You now immune to it as you've succumbed to it once already. And they take a good amount of damage there.
All right, and then as a bonus action, I send my spiritual weapon in to stab at this guy.
Excellent.
D20 plus 4. That is a miss again.
You know,
It
Bridges'
rolled
spear
another
once again strikes untrue, unable to connect with the flesh of these creatures. Anything else you're doing?
Nope, that's it.
Awesome. That brings us around to Janlar. You've stepped forward, you firebolted one of these things. You've seen Sambar rush in to knock Agoric down and out of their path. What do you do?
I don't really have a lot of spells that I like for against these guys, but I do like the idea of keeping these guys in the moonbeam. So I'm gonna dash all the way around these guys to like here, and then step into combat with them right here and lock them in combat.
Okay, so you use the dash action to get to there, and then step in like with your dagger ready.
Yep.
Okay. All right, you hold them there. That brings us to their turn as they are stuck in this well of light, and they take damage. Please roll moonbeam damage for me.
Okay, so I roll 2d10 radiant damage, and they get to make a con saving throw, and they take half if they make it.
Okay, so there's 4 on the surface in the light, but then there
Oh my
are
God.
2 more underneath it as well. So we need 60, 20.
What about did the one that levitated, did he just levitate above, or
Oh,
did
he did.
like
He did levitate above, so he's actually
how
caught in it
far
as
up
well.
is he?
The moonbeam's gonna come down. He's 20 feet above the rest.
Yeah,
but
then-
he's gonna be
then-
caught
then-
in it.
60 foot.
So
Yeah.
also-
He's technically like in there.
Yeah.
But I just moved him aside because we need the room. So he's in there too. So 7d20 to fail.
We're just slowly chipping them away with all this low damage AoE.
We have fail. What's your DC save?
14.
Fail, pass. Okay. Yeah, con, not their strong suit. They take a lot of damage here. So this guy takes 6. This guy takes 6. This guy takes 6 and 3. 6 and 3 and 3. No, 3 and 6. Okay, these guys, right here, the ones that have been here the longest, he dies. The one floating in the air incinerates into ash as he's caught in the moonbeam. Along with the one that has been most damaged by Tom here. It has just been turned to ash and destroyed. Which leaves just these 3 and the ones below it caught in the moonbeam. On their turn, they're gonna try to engage with Janlar because they are foolish creatures that don't understand what's hurting them with negative intelligence, and they're going to attack him. One of them will rise up to take the spot of the one that has died, and will attack Janlar, and these 2 will take attacks at attack Tom, and these 2 will take attacks at Sambar.
For
So
note, I'm going to use my reaction to cast Shield of 20 AC.
okay, all right.
You want to cast it before they've even attacked?
Oh, one of them's going to attack me.
The first 2 attacks on you are a 10 and a 20.
The 20 hits.
So the 20 hits. You are going to take 2d8. You take 10 piercing damage as this thing turns around and gets a good bite into you. It sinks its jaws in for a lot of damage.
Okay. 9 of which are taken by my arcane ward, so I actually take 1.
Oh, nice! Your arcane ward from your abjuration flares up and it crunches through it, but it softens the blow into your flesh. Excellent. 2 attacks against Tom for a critical and a 19.
Okay, so 1 hit, 1 miss.
So the crit hits
Con
you?
save. I fail on the paralysis, and then the concentration I pass. So I take 1 hit. That one's the crit.
Oh,
I get paralyzed, but I don't lose my shield.
They are biting you, not clawing you.
Oh, so there's
So
no
you
browse.
don't have to pass for the paralyzation. But you do take 12 points of damage as this thing's jaws find purchase and sink deeply into your flesh, dealing that damage to you. The
Do I need to
two,
make a save?
no, they're biting. I'm doing the bite for most damage output. They're trying to end this fight quickly. And these things are going to attack Sambar. One with a natural fail, one with a critical hit, and it will do
I will laugh if Millman's character dies.
12 points of damage to Sambar.
He has 18 con, he can take it.
Yeah.
Let's be serious here. His modifier is almost as high as my entire con.
But that brings us down the initiative order to Rose. You see them biting deeply into both Tom and Sambar, but not being smart enough to get out of the moonbeam. What do you do?
Well, there is actually not too much I can do because apparently I'm very limited on bonus actions or, I guess you can't. I just have to focus. I can take a normal action, focus on the moonbeam, right? That's how it works if I don't move it?
I believe so, yes. You have to maintain concentration on it, but it takes an action to move the beam.
Then I'll just leave the beam where it is and throw another stone at... Is one of them damaged more than the other? The one next to Sandball?
This one right here is damaged more. Much more.
Right, and then I'll try to, throw a pebble at it.
Alright, you sling your magic stone at it, striking true. For 8 points of damage, and it falls dead on the ground in front of you. Yeah, nicely done. Anything else with your turn, or is that all?
I think that's all for now.
Excellent. Which brings us to Gorik. You have been knocked prone by Sambar out of the way of the double striking gas. You are paralyzed and tread upon. Sambar's actually standing on your back. Please make a save at the end of your turn to get rid of this paralyzation.
Break paralysis. Nope.
Gorik continues to be paralyzed underneath Sambar in the swamp. Excellent. Sambar has his turn. He takes out his spear and is going to go to work on this guy in front of him. For a 13, which does exactly hit. For 9 points of damage on this guy. This one right here, 9 points might do it. It does indeed. Striking and killing the creature here. With spear in hand, he then moves 1, 2, 3... 4, 5 is gonna work up here to engage with the creatures on the edge of the moonbeam at the end of his turn. Excellent. Tom, let's come back to you.
So we're gonna start with the spiritual weapon bonus action.
All right.
Get that out of the way first on this guy. So the roll is again a miss, and I'm kind of sick of all these misses. So I'm gonna burn Scorching Ray here.
Ooh.
We're gonna target this guy, and this guy in that order.
Okay, in that order.
3 spell attacks. So miss. Hey!
The rays of Burgess fly from your fingertips, shoosh, into the moonbeam. They seem to be almost negated by the moonbeam. Just they just fizzle out, don't quite reach their target. As the interactions of your magic and the druid's magic seem to not work well together in this moment.
These rolls are incredible.
Yeah, we've been rolling proper bad today.
I don't know about you guys. I've been rolling great.
I have a real
I don't know if you go back and look at my rolls. I think I haven't rolled less than...
The gas all begin their turn inside of the moonbeam. So I'm going to roll them some saves. Yeah. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left.
Oh my god, are you kidding?
Well, they all fail except for one.
Amazing.
But they only take 2 damage.
Oh.
Chipping away ever so slowly.
If I would have just slung stones every turn, I might have ended up with more damage than this.
And with that, they attack. So they are going to try to get out of the way of the last one. So he's going to step out of the moonbeam so that the next one can arrive in the battle. And we're going to get 1 attack at Janlar, 1 attack at Sambar, and 2 attacks at Tom. So we are going with...
I'm going to use my reaction to
That's a
shield.
Janlar. And with your shield, you flash a magic abjuration spell in front of it and just blast back the attack. It can't sink its jaws into you. This at Sambar for 15. He easily gets hit. Actually, that's exactly his armor class, isn't it? He gets hit.
Easily gets
He
hit.
easily gets hit.
With the greatest of ease.
With the greatest of ease. He takes 5 more points of damage. And then we get 2 attacks at Tom, 1 for a 12 and 1 for a 12.
Okay, I'm good.
They cannot strike true against you. And that ends their turn, which brings us to Janlar. You have gotten up close and personal with them, knocked away 1 with your magic shield. What are you going to do next?
You're still muted.
Sorry, I was reading something. My bad. I'm just gonna attack with my dagger since I don't want to attack with this.
All right, slice away, man. A 9. Your dagger swings in, but is unable to make contact. Good, true contact with the gas.
All these ghouls and adventurers missing each other. Having a nice fun day at the
It's a
fort.
real rough miss. Excellent. Which brings us, which involved people leaving the cameras, I guess.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
The police finally think
That's what I'll do if I don't like my turn. I'll just be like, "Oh fuck this!" Next time I roll
Dan
the 2
rolls a
on the
5.
TV.
Dan just
GG.
disappeared in a
Shit.
puff of smoke. Okay.
the latest rage quit.
Well, that's his turn at least. Rose, what are you doing?
Sorry, I didn't. I was not prepared for this. Okay. I will pick up another pebble from the swamp, blow on it, and then can I shoot this
Yes.
creature here? Okay. I have to fix the spell after this game. Annoying.
Yep.
11. Oh, wait a
That
minute.
actually misses. Yeah, your spell does not fly true. Goric, it's your turn. You're still paralyzed, face down in the swamp.
Are you drowning in the water right now?
I was joking about me drowning in the water earlier. We're gonna find out.
Please
Wait,
save.
Can I find out if he's
You'll
face
be
down or
funny.
face up? Because I'm
tired of
curious if he
roll
actually is
20.
drowning right now.
He's not
I mean,
drowning in the swamp.
if I looked at him and I had the feeling he was drowning, I would be
he
doing
managed to fall face down in a non-wet area. You can see this is green and ferny. He might have like some vegetation up his
Yeah.
mouth or something, but
You're much nicer than I am.
he's
Yeah.
fine. Please save to end your paralyzation.
I decided that I was tired of Roll20's bullshit, and I rolled an actual d20, and I rolled a 3 on it, so I still failed my damn.
That's punishment for not using the Roll20 software right there.
Yep.
That's what that is. Well,
I continue to be paralyzed.
Goric continues to be paralyzed in the swamp.
Oh man, the title for this episode needs to be something like.
How many single digits can we roll?
No, I was gonna say something like old and helpless or something like that, because I spent the first half blind, and I'm gonna spend the second half paralyzed.
Sambar takes a giant strike at one of these creatures in the swamp, gets a hit for 6 points of damage. A billow of stench comes out. This is affecting Janlar for the first time. Please make a DC 10 save versus the stench, please. Constitution. You pass, you're fine. So the 3 of you have all smelt the stench of death before, and you are immune to its terribleness. That is his turn as he readies himself with his spear. Tom, it's your turn. What do you do?
All right. Well, I have used all my spells, so it's time to go old school and start whacking things with the mace and miss. And it's time to start stabbing things with the spear and hit.
Oh,
Yes!
the spear for Jess
Finally!
comes through. Please roll some damage. 7 points of damage on this one that you have been fighting for a long, long time. And it finally exactly goes down.
All right, and then my spiritual weapon is going to go right here.
Excellent. The spiritual weapon enters the moonbeam. Excellent. That is your turn, which brings us to Janlar. You've smelled the stench of death. You're up close and personal to these gas. What are you doing? You
You're
crit
muted.
Something. I don't know what you
You're
crit,
also
but you did
muted.
it.
Sorry, I apologize. I keep forgetting to move my stuff.
It's okay.
I'm terrible. Okay, so I attack the one in front of me with my dagger.
Nice. Nice. You crit it with your dagger. You're the most successful dagger mage I've ever seen.
I had a player roll a mage with brass knuckles once,
Nice.
and I think they killed most of the major encounters in that game down to the wire by just punching it in the face with brass knuckles.
9 points of damage on this ghast with your dagger, stabbing it through. Another waft of stench across from you. That brings us to their turn. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures in the moonbeam. So we will make some saves.
Oh, 13. Okay.
Oh, wow, that's
fine.
actually much better. Do they pass? We have a fail, a pass, a fail, and a fail. So, you have 13 damage. 13. Wow, this one dies. 13. This one dies. This one lives. This one takes half and lives. Nice. And so... Dies. Alright, it is their turn. There's 2 left on the surface that can make attacks. One attempts to strike at Tom with its... We're going to go back to claws since there's fewer of them now. We're getting close to the end. A 23 to hit you with the claws.
That's a hit.
Alright.
First off, that might kill me, so go ahead and roll for it.
2d6. For 7 points of damage.
I'm on my feet still.
Oh, nice.
I'm on my feet and not
And you are
paralyzed.
not paralyzed. The other one attempts to strike at Janlar for 17. Does that hit you?
I use my reaction to cast shield again.
Okay. All right. Your abjuration magic flies forward and stops this thing in mid-strike.
Do you have
and
any spell slots left at this point, Janlar? That's like
I
the
am.
third.
I'm out now.
Okay.
I casted 3 mage armor, or one mage armor and 3 shields.
3 shields. Okay.
All right. And then the last one finally emerges from the puddle. And is unable to do more than emerge from the water. Which brings us back around to Rose.
Okay. Plus, I'm gonna shoot a... Can I see that dude? The right one of these? This one?
This one here? Oh, this one
Yeah,
here?
that one works too.
Sure.
That one works too.
Yeah, that one works.
Okay. I'll take this one and I'll shoot a pebble at him.
All right, pebble away. You strike him true.
For 8 damage?
For 8 damage. All right, he's managed to avoid some of the moonbeam damage and is still alive. But you can tell that he is definitely hurting. Anything else you're doing with your turn?
Yeah, I would like to use my bonus action to healing word on Tom,
Okay.
which is like a tiny vine that wraps around his foot.
Right,
I guess
right.
I
As we've seen in
presume.
the past, a little
I have a moment of
vine.
thinking about to be dragged beneath the water.
a tiny vine
Maybe
from
it
the
is
grasslands,
intentional, you'll never know.
works its way up through the swamp and touches you at the behest of Rose, healing you for 6 points of damage.
All right.
All right. Gorik, you are face down in the swamp, trying not to be paralyzed.
13 do it.
13 does it! It's a DC 10! Yes! Gorik,
At the end of my turn, I'm not paralyzed anymore.
Yeah, at the end of your turn, you wake up, no longer paralyzed, face down in the swamp. Sambar is going to step around. No, he's just gonna... Yeah, he's gonna step... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's gonna step over here and attempt to stab the one outside of the moonbeam with his two-handed spear. For 17, he strikes for 5 points of damage, effectively ending the life of this one out here. Bam! And then he has one more point of movement left, so he's going to move there to fill the spot. Tom, it's your turn.
All right. First up, we have Smash.
Smash! Smash hits. That is exactly what you need.
All right. So we smash at the mace for 4 points.
For 4 points of damage. Okay.
Stab!
Smash and stab. Our cleric smash and stab. You missed with your stabbing, unfortunately. Excellent. That is your turn, Janlar. It's you, a ghast, and a knife. What are you gonna do?
Oh, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stab it.
All right. You stab it. Please roll some damage.
Spellcasters in the party, like,
How
no,
much
we
damage
stab
can
it.
you do?
Hopefully enough.
Ooh, it's gonna be enough, but not on your turn. It's their turn. Rose, please roll damage on the moonbeam.
Fine.
Even with a successful save, neither of these will live. As the magic of the moonbeam just eradicates them as they burn up in a flash of silvery moonlight and fall dead on the ground.
As this happens, Gorik like leaps to his feet with his mace and his shield, like creatures.
Welcome to the fight, Grave Mantle.
I love how he gave advice to Jedline 1 second later, just topples off.
Gemma, I don't think that's gonna work.
I do remember you being in the fight. That's why.
And with that, I believe our session will come to an end for today. I'm going to calculate some XPs for you all to take home. In the meantime, do you have any shout-outs or anything you want to say before we end the stream?
I'm gonna go on vacation. Actually,
Right.
True, that is happening.
I'm going to Crete for 1 week, and then afterwards I'm going to TwitchCon Europe. So if by any chance you're gonna be there and you run into me,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just say hi if you want to. You know, I'm a pretty social person, so. Yeah.
Like somebody in chat's like, Gorik wasn't really paralyzed, he just took a nap. He took an old man nap, like
The middle of this life or death situation.
yeah. He just had to rest his eyes for a minute. I'm not sleeping, I'm just resting my eyes.
All right. Nice. Well, hopefully we'll get Millman back soon from his vacation, and we won't have to miss more than maybe a week, but we'll see how that works out. Have a great trip. Sounds like a good time, and we'll see you when you get back.
Right. I'm gonna put
They have
my-
minotaurs on Crete, so I'm pretty much just going to see where Gormak is coming
You're
from.
going to see Gormak.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, I'm gonna drop. Well, actually, you know what? We'll put the other one in there, so I won't link it just yet.
All right. Anything else you guys want to shout out, or should we move on to XPs here?
I got Oh.
I'm gonna drop all my link. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
No, I said I have nothing.
Sean doesn't have anything. He's just.
Alright.
I don't shout
You
out.
got Hardcore Heroes tomorrow.
Oh yeah, go watch that.
Wait, are you gonna be there too?
I don't
thought it was
advertise
just
shows usually. Like Neil's
Neil would
like,
be
hey, do you want to be on
disappointed in
this
your
thing? And I'm
salesmanship.
just like, sure. And then he goes on.
I thought it was a Malachi solo set. Are you gonna be there too? Is it both of you?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Alrighty. So,
All right, I dropped all my links. So
enjoy the various stylings of Mike in
Yep.
his linkage. Make sure to rate and don't watch. I did
could.
something like that.
Well, you can
Nobody
watch.
has actually rated my my last 2 Monster Manual encounters, which is really a shame. It makes me sad. So
Yeah.
Watch it if you want. Rate it no matter what.
So, for your investigations of the curse of the beggar statue, and your combat with the ghouls, and your friendship of Morgan, the good woman of the swamp. Please take home 900 experience points each.
Ooh.
Should we level here, or should we wait on that?
Go ahead and level up if you would like. We can do that off stream and come back with.
Okay.
If you want to roll your HPs in chat,
Yeah, I'll go and take care of that right
Do that
now.
right now.
Sure.
Oh, I hate that part.
We'll switch over.
Hey,
A
bad roll.
3, nice.
It's 6 for a wizard, right?
D6.
D6, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right.
All right. Is Rose leveling up?
I think.
You should.
Wait,
You should have the exact same amount of XP.
1,000. What's the threshold?
2,700 for level 4.
Yeah. Well, okay, off we go. Oh, Oh.
This reminds me of the first episode of Hardcore Heroes when we all like rolled 1s and 2s for our hit point.
shit. Giant
The
yikes.
person in the party was the wizard with the 4 on their D4.
And with
I'm afraid to roll hit points tonight. I haven't rolled hardly anything above.
I don't think
above
you're leveling
4.
up, Gormac. Or Goric.
No, 900 was exactly enough.
It's exactly enough. Oh, well, here we go.
Yeah,
Let's see your, let's see your
it was
Come
rolls.
on,
like
you're
literally,
rolling.
I was exactly 900 away because we had me start halfway
Yep.
level from level 2.
Give the old man an 8. He needs it.
Right? Yeah, I'm real scared here. It's been such a bad night for HP. Oh,
Nice.
Prove it all.
This really is hardcore.
Nice. All right. A new Hardy and Hale party will join us next week, I guess. Until then, thank you all for coming and hanging out and watching the stream. We will see you either next week or the week after. Bye, y'all.